Hey everyone, you're with Matthew. You're at the hub, and you may not know it, but you're also in the matrix. In the midst of all this social, political, and health unrest, many people are feeling a call to action and purpose in a way that they may not have ever felt it before. There's a sense of urgency and the deep felt sense that something has to change. We know that now, what we do now, we're working for change now in the short term, but also for the future. This is going to be a marathon and not a sprint. We're working for now and for future generations. All these things are in play. In the midst of all that, how do you sustain commitment? How do you maintain nourishment and support? Because we're in it for the long haul. That's what I want to try to explore today. How your mind-body practice helps you sustain commitment, and also how it helps you stay resilient. We all know that words without actions lead nowhere. Talking a problem to death leads to the abyss of inaction. And then more directly and more literally, if our thoughts and ideas don't make it through our hands and feet, we literally can't affect change in the world. So the body has this really, really important role in affecting change. And that seems so obvious, but part of how you sustain commitment is recognizing how you need to be nourishing at this core deep level in order to sustain an outer commitment out in the world. That, being able to access our inner resources, our sense of resilience, and our sense of maintaining nourishment, that's the realm of yoga. That's the realm of yoga practice. That's of any form of mind-body practice. So the question I want to ask today is what is the energy underneath our ability to sustain commitment and remain resilient? Like, what is that energy? And I don't mean how the mind focuses that energy. Like, that's, i.e., like through the will. The will and the mind, and through beliefs and into will, focuses that underlying energy. But what's the underlying energy, and how do we nourish and support the underneath bubble up that ends up into action in the world? That, again, is the realm of yoga. How do we access inner resources? So the short answer, I think, at least that I've found, is that it's not my will and my strength that maintains my commitments and my resilience. It's the less tangible, less certain energy from underneath. It's where I ache and yearn and grieve. That part of my being, those aspects of my being, the less tangible aspects of my being, are what sustain commitment. And I actually also needed to be tended to be cleansed, to be supported. That energy needs support near the hub of the wheel, not in each belief you have in that place, but near the hub of the wheel. We need to support that space. And I think that yoga brings a lot of insight into how to do that. To offer a metaphor for that, think of yourself as an iceberg, and pretty much we'll only have access to what's above the water. But there's a whole bunch of resource of the iceberg, or the iceberg that's under the water, that's unseen. Tapping into that potential and that inner resource is part of what helps over time sustain commitment. And I think that yoga has a lot of things to offer with that. The sensation of grounding, right? The sensation of keeping your chest open, because it's our intangible part of us that receives nourishment. That's why Shavasana, or the relaxing pose at the end of class, is done often flat on the ground, right? Because you just get to absorb in the support. This is the level that people need to keep nourished. It's not just you need to use yoga to reduce stress, which it helps with that too. You need to keep refilling the well with practice and form. A lifted chest really helps that, like laying over a bolster, keeping the part of you that the vulnerable part of you that your mind wants to protect open and supported. That's like laying over bolster, supporting your spine, recognizing that the more direct vehicle of your body's movements is your spine. That's where the nervous system comes out from. That's what's spreading the awareness. So supporting your spine is like watering the soil underneath the plant being, in this metaphor, your thoughts, actions, and beliefs. I also think that practicing grounding with sandbags, with changing your perspective, supporting your spine, but also practicing symmetry while you're grounding from side to side, softening your eyes, learning to soften your organs of perception while you're still being grounded and active. And of course, when you work to find more symmetry, I'm putting my hands on the mat, feeling both sitting bones, lifting my chest. This is a really good time to breathe, because then my breath is filling, the magic of the breath is actually delivering down the acting body. And so that level of support, that level of nourishment, and you're going to find that the inner dimension also needs to be cleansed. It needs to be moved. I think twists help that. Back bends bring it into the world. Twists tend to wring it out. But the support, not everything is achieved with the will. There's such an important dimension to the bubbling up of the well that comes from the ground. And that's the energy that helps you sustain over time. I do want to say, though, that I want to make a point that I think that the way that yoga can most directly and profoundly help is not that a mind-body practice or yoga supports your beliefs. I think yoga supports your ability to live your beliefs. That's a big difference, right? So you get to choose what you believe and what you don't. A mind-body practice, getting more connected to what comes up from underneath, from where the resources really are the energy from which you get to live your beliefs. Because I really fundamentally think that the relationship between you and the universe is your own. And be careful what beliefs you put in there. Be careful what beliefs you inherit. And those take a lifetime to think about and work through. But the energy that precedes belief, that actually is where the core nourishment and resilience of human consciousness, I believe, derives from. This is the energy that there are methodologies to support and enhance. How to use alignment and breath and openness and symmetry and breathing, obviously. All these things support that level, because you get to have, that's the stuff. The stuff underneath the water is the stuff of self-realization. And with that level of support and realization, then you go live what you believe. But you need to stay nourished at the core level, and let your yoga practice or your mind-body practice help that. All right, until next time, let's find each other in the matrix.